Good morning, my friends again. Well, here we are. It's already the end of November, and we're into the 1st of December. Back on Tuesday morning again with you. I missed you, but our Thanksgiving and my family was a little different this year. Bet yours was too. Actually, we had a 3-way conversation on our iPad from my daughter in Dallas, Texas, my one in Charlotte, and Mr. Mark and I here, all at the same time. And if you think that's not funny, well, with my grandchildren, my other 2 girls who are a lot like their mom, do you know what that means? I bet you do, all my little friends who know Miss Faye. All my girls talk a lot like Miss Faye, so the guys hardly got anything in. It's just the way our family is, but we had a wonderful time, even though we couldn't be together. And I hope yours was just as wonderful. But here we are again, and I'm so glad our preschool is back with you. So, we did Thanksgiving. Now, what's coming up? Of course, the other holiday called, I hear you out there saying it. Of course you're right, Christmas. And out there, you may go into some stores with your parents. And there's plenty of people out there who aren't always nice, and you need to know about it. I know a lot of you, your parents have taught you, but Miss Faye has a book, and it's a funny book. It's different about strangers. It is called Never Talk to Strangers. It was wrote by Irma Joyce, was the author. The person who drew all the pictures was George Buquette. And it is about animals who teach you never talk to strangers. Let's begin. If you are hanging from a trapeze and up sneaks a camel with bony knees, remember this rule, if you please, never talk to strangers. If you are shopping in a store and a spotted leopard leaps through the door, don't ask him what he's shopping for, 'cause you what? Never talk to strangers. If the doorbell rings and standing there is a grouchy, grumbling, grizzly bear, shut that door. Your mother won't care, because you, right, never talk to strangers. If you are in the park for a walk and out of a cloud parachutes a hawk, unless you know his name, don't talk, 'cause you never talk to strangers. If you are waiting for a bus and behind you stands a rhinoceros, though he may shove and make a fuss, you never talk to strangers. If you are out for a mountain climb and a coyote asks if you know the time, let him wait for a clock to chime, because we never talk to strangers. If you're mailing a letter to Aunt Lucille and you see a car with a whale at the wheel, stay away from him and his automobile, 'cause you never talk to strangers. If you are riding your bike at noon and you see a bee with a bass bassoon, a musical instrument, don't stop to ask the name of his tune, because you never talk to strangers. If you are swimming in a pool and a crocodile begins to drool, paddle away and repeat this rule. What is it? Never talk to strangers. You got it. But if your father introduces you to a roly-poly kangaroo, say politely, "How do you do?" That's not talking to strangers. because your Father knows her. If your teacher says she'd like you to meet a lilac llama who's very sweet, invite her over and serve a treat. That's not talking to strangers because your teacher knows her. If a pal of yours you've always known brings around a prancing roan, that's a horse, welcome him in a friendly tone. That's not talking to strangers because your pal knows him. If while eating toast and honey, you catch a glimpse of the Easter bunny, tell him a joke. He'll think it's funny. That's not talking to strangers because everyone knows him. Now I'll tell you why you've never heard this jolly giraffe say a single word. It's because he's learned from a little bird, never talk to strangers. The end. Now, that book is telling you something I know a lot of you have already heard. So, the book is going to also introduce our puppet story next. We are going to do a puppet story today called, it's a fairy tale, Hansel and Gretel. And Hansel and Gretel also should not have talked to strangers because it kind of got them in a lot of trouble. So we're going to be going right now to the Hansel and Gretel fairy tale story.